Hello everyone, this is my World News app. The inspiration for this idea came from one of our previous labs where we used the News API to search for news articles. And I thought it would be great if we could capitalize on this and make a whole entire app for searching news articles, saving them, and editing them as we like. So basically, what happens is that a user, instead of searching straight for a name like Phoenix or Tempe, we can go to the map and search words like apple, and then the map will populate certain points of interest that we can choose from. Then that is searched into the web news API where we get our list of news related to that location. Then we would be able to save locations that we prefer and then edit them as we will. So here is a part of the class diagram. I split it into 3 parts. So this is part 1 where we have the main controller. So the main controller has many results, which are actually the result of searching on the map. So what happens is that the user can use a UI search bar and search whatever name they'd like. And then the map populates various annotations with the title string and the coordinates with result. And then the annotations are populated on the map, and the user is free to choose from whichever one he or she likes. And then from there, it opens up an alert that allows the user to search. The other functionality of the main controller is the sign-in. So what this does is it connects to Firebase and allows users to sign into this app using Google. And it uses your Google account to actually generate a profile. So it takes out a lot of effort on my part regarding user IDs and passwords, but you have to learn how to use the Google sign-in and sign-out process to be able to use this smoothly. Here's a second part of my class diagram. So this is going from the main controller all the way to the save controller. So as before, from the main controller, you would search on the map would generate annotations. You choose an annotation, which was generated by result, and then from there, once you choose an annotation, the name of that annotation, the title, will go to the news controller. The news controller calls the web API, and it uses the title of that annotation to search through the web API. And then the web API generates a array of articles that the user can search. The user can search from, and it generates them on the table view of the news controller. The news controller has unique news table cells, which have their own title, description, URL to image, and that is used for the save controller, because on the news controller, not all that information is shown. It's only the title that's shown. So from there, on the news controller, once you decide to select on a cell, you go to save controller. The save controller is where it takes that news table cells information and puts them into input title, input picture, input description, and input URL. Fill basically allows the save controller to use that information that it got and fill in the UI labels. And then the save this button allows the user to save this news article into the profile that's currently on. If there is no online profile, it will not save. And then the upload media is a function that is implemented for Firebase storage, because it has some issues because Firebase database has some issues trying to save images. So Firebase storage. So upload media allows me to save this image into Firebase storage for further use. And then also from the save controller, there is a button that says URL. And basically once you click this button, it opens Safari that allows you to freely use the web of the source of this article. So this is part 3 of my class diagram. So the upper left arrow over here is coming from the main controller, where you're only allowed to access through the profile button if you have logged in. So once you log in, this profile controller generates your saved news articles on a table by going into Firebase, picking out your specific saved array of news articles, and then uploading them onto the profile controller. So the news table has basically the same thing as before, except this time we use a different news. Instead of news table cell, we use news to generate this table. So the thing is, when we try to get it from Firebase, we have to use data snapshots. So we initialize data snapshots here and get strings of the title, description, URL, and URL to image, and use those to populate the news table. So from the news table, the profile controller, you have the option to delete saved news articles. All you need to do is swipe left. And from there, there's not much else to do except you click on an image and you go to edit controller. So from edit controller, you gain, it looks a lot like the previous save controller, except instead of the save button on the upper right, we have an edit button on the upper right. So how this works is, instead of having labels for all the items, we have text fields where the user is allowed to freely edit the description, not the title, just the description. And we also have a camera or a gallery button where you are allowed to change the image as you'd like. And then once you do that, you press the edit button, and the program saves that new article that you made, replaces the previous one with this new article, the new image, and new description. The user also has the ability to go into Safari using the URL button as before. There isn't much different from that. And that is basically the whole class diagram. The main controller all the way to save controller, and then main controller all the way to the the edit controller. So here's my MVC diagram. We'll start with the controller. So basically, the controller handles all logins using Google. It retrieves saved news. It calls the various APIs of news and map. It fetches search news lists, and basically gets my current location, any points of interest, and it has to specifically save images to Firebase storage, and then it handles user profile through Google, and then save or load data from Firebase using your Google account. So from the controller to the view, so basically there's the user actions and the user updates. The user actions consists of any button clicking, swiping, inputting search information, which is using the UI search bar to do. And then any of those allows the user to update the main, news, save, edit or profile controller views. It updates the news tables, the saved news tables, and the map. Allows you to display any kind of information after a web API call, and allows the user to edit save news tables and update new images. So the view reacts to user taps and interactions. It displays all searched items, so like points of interest, news articles, the specific saved news articles. It displays buttons, labels, UI labels, images, and alert actions. And then anytime you update the image for a piece of news, it displays that also. And there's also the web view for news articles, where once you click and you'll use the URL button, it shows you the web view. And then the login through Google is also part of the view. From the controller to the model is that there's a notify, so the controller notifies the model, hey, we searched something, we deleted something, we changed information, profiles changed, or we logged out. And then the model tells back to the controllers, hey, we saved this, new profiles, save the articles. We save the new profile's image specifically. It deletes whatever the user wanted to delete, and it also submits back the map data that we found from the search. So the model uses Firebase for a majority of our stuff. So Firebase database for specific users and the articles in JSON format. Firebase storage for saving specifically images. So there's an issue with Firebase database where it won't take in images very well, so we have to use Firebase storage for that. And then it notifies the controller of data changes in real times. It makes sure that the data is persistent for different login sessions, real-time updates for data deleted and saving news. Firebase pretty much provides a file storage manipulation along with picture storage and manipulation. It interacts with the news API and SDK. It interacts with the controller through objects obtained through API calls to the Firebase database, so that's like the news table cells or that news model. And it translates Firebase data in Swift, along with that both means for database and storage. So these are the capabilities of my app. So first, there's the Find Landmark to search for news. You can use the search bar to type in whatever you like, and in this case I typed in Apple. And then the map generates annotations for all similar results, and then puts them on as little red pins. From there, once the user clicks it, you press the little blue circle with an eye inside of it, and it pops up an alert that allows you to go to your news table with all the search results. From here, you can also log in or log out. If you press the sign in/create account button, it will allow you to sign in through Google. If you've already have used this before, it should save your account information, and then once you click, you can say, oh, hey, I already signed in one time, and it should just let you go in. Otherwise, you would have to log in with your password and everything. And from there, you can either use the profile or just sign out. So here's a save, edit, and delete news using Google profile. So all your information is saved into your Google profile. You can, from here, so this is already signed in with using my account. So this is the title, camera picture, gallery picker, description, and the URL. You are allowed to change the description and the picture as shown in the next image. So this image can be changed using a camera picture, gallery picker, and the description can be just changed however you like using text. And the last image is one showing of how to delete your saved news articles. So just swipe left and it'll be gone. And finally, the last capability is the access to news source site. So previous image, there is a little button that says URL. Once you click that, you are led into the Safari site of whatever article it was. So previously it was this Yahoo article, and once you press the URL button, it leads you to the Safari page with it. So some limitations. So I don't have predictive searching or autofill while searching. Those took a bit of effort to try to implement, so instead I just went with find related names. This also only takes a Google account, so if you don't have a Google account, you can't really use it. And this has no filtering news by language, so I set it so that the news API returns all languages, so you could get results in like Japanese. Alright, so finally the lessons learned is that I learned how to use Firebase storage and database. So database we covered a little bit in class, but storage was entirely new. There was a search bar UI, which is a little altered text field that allows users to interact with it once you press enter button. Navigation bar manipulation. I learned how to change the title between different slides. There's the application of MVC and design, which was the whole point of the class. Google account integration, which allowed a lot of things to become much more convenient by setting the login logout process through Google. Saving files to binary online, which I had to use for Firebase storage, and custom annotations. Finally, the improvements to this class. So I would teach Firebase storage, specifically since we had to do images and you can't use database to save that. Teach solving layout issues when developing an app. That was a big issue all year. I didn't really like SpriteKit because it felt like it was a last minute, hey, just do this kind of thing. And one thing I really thought was useful was an NS fetch results controller. It wasn't for Firebase, it was for core data, but it basically allowed a user to put in multiple search filters and however they like, and I thought it was a great thing that I used for one of our previous labs, but we've never went over it in class. And that's my app. Thank you.